Hey, let me ask you a question. How's your retirement account doing? Or maybe I should back up. Do you even have one? Let's assume for a second that you don't, but that you have gotten as far as identifying 30 to 60 stocks or ETFs that you think are possible investments for you. And you realize that's too many to keep track of. So let's say maybe you want to cut that number in half. So, question number one, how would you know which ones to get rid of? Question number two, let's say you reduce by half and now you're thinking, okay, these are the ones I'm going to invest in. Second question, how much money should you put in each investment?
So whether you just have your list of stocks and ETFs in your mind or you've put it on an Excel sheet, still look at this. XLE, PXE, PIC, FCX, silver, gold miners, copper miners, the S&P 500 index, XLP for staples, FSTA staples. I mean, look at all these things. Regeneron, Arc Genomics, XLV, XBI. Like, how will you figure out which one of these you're going to keep? Google, Apple, Amazon, CCJ, SCHD, a very popular one. I mean, how are you going to pick between all of these? And again, how are you going to know what percentages you should put in each of these stocks? I mean, it's very difficult just to like eyeball it and figure it out.
Aren't those great questions? I thought they were. When I was doing a master's of finance, I was blown away by this question and that there was fairly simple tools that we have in Excel in order to be able to calculate this and come up with a mathematical answer. You don't have to guess. I don't have to guess. I thought that was really incredible. This idea won a Nobel Prize in the 1950s. It's called modern portfolio theory. And I thought it was so great that once I graduated, I made this course. What is this? Who's it for? Like I said, it's for anybody that just has Excel. You don't need any special software. And you don't need a whole bunch of extra knowledge. You will need a brokerage account, but that you can sign up for free. Who it's not for is the people that want to make 20 to 50 trades and stare at the stock market all day long. No, this is really what they call a buy and hold strategy, or sometimes called a passive strategy. What it is you basically set up a portfolio that matches your return expectations and a level of risk that you're willing to accept, and you just let it ride. It's going to be a long-term investment strategy, and you maybe will adjust it a little bit, call it rebalancing, every 6 months or every year. But really, other than that, you're able to go live your life, do things with your kids if you have side hustles or whatever else you're doing. You're not really thinking about the stock market day in and day out. Yeah, you just check it on your phone and see how things are going. But in general, it's not a big thing that's going to take up a bunch of your time.
So let's take a look at an example of the end product that you might come up with after doing this course. This is an example I did for my mother and father. This is a 50% stock and 50% bond portfolio, as you can see here. They started out with a whole lot of assets, and we were able to narrow it down. My dad, he really liked tech companies, Google, Apple, Amazon. My mom was a little bit more conservative. She liked some precious metals miners. She liked some basically dividend-paying stocks. And in order to kind of get it up to a 50% stock, 50% bond portfolio, the two pinks are the bond funds. So this is a corporate, high-grade, high-quality bond fund, the QLTA, and then SHY is U.S. Treasuries. It's a short-term bond fund. So you can see that with the pinks, this adds up to 50%, and then the rest of these will also add up to 50% in the white. Now, one of the things that Excel helped us do was we told it the rules. I want, half the money in the pinks, I want the other half in the whites, and figure out for me the best percentages to put in each stock like we've been talking about. If we jump over here, it was basically 8-month holding period return because we started in May 1st, 2022, and this is basically Christmas Eve 2022, so almost 8 months later. So here in the green, we have the winners, you could call them, the ones that increased in value, and then in the light orange, ones that had small under 5% losses, and then the darker oranges over 10%. You could see that the tech stocks really got beat up. Google, Apple, Amazon, with Amazon being down 29%. But there was only 1.8% of all the money invested in Amazon. So at the end of the day, how did this perform? Well, it had a negative 1.7% return over those 8 months. Usually people like to talk about things as far as what was the annual return, how much did I get in a full year? I don't want to know what happened in 8 of 12 months. So if you annualize that, it'd be about down 3.6% on the year. Well, what does that compare to the S&P 500? The S&P 500 over that same period was down 6.06%, and it had, if you annualize that, it'd be down about 10%. So you can see the losses were much larger if I just held the S&P 500 compared to this portfolio. Now, the reason that is because we set the standard deviation very low. We were able to use this dashboard, and we could come up with a standard deviation of 7%. We told the Excel program we want a standard deviation of 7, so no higher than 7. So is that a high or a low number? Well, let's go look at the S&P 500 and let's go look at one of those total stock market index funds. So here we're looking on Yahoo Finance at Vanguard's total stock market index fund, ticker VTI. It's very popular and you'll hear about it a lot. If we go down to the risk tab and we look at the standard deviation, we can see that over the last 3 years it had an average of 21.47% standard deviation. So this is over 3 times the risk that the portfolio that we created had. If we look at the 5-year window here, it's 19% standard deviation, and on the 10-year standard deviation it has about an average of 15%. So again, somewhere between double or triple, depending upon which time frame you're looking at, double or triple the risk of what you could create if you took this course and decide you wanted to play it a little bit safer, or you could go a little bit riskier. Maybe you don't want to play it so safe. Maybe you feel like you have a lot of time to recover from the dips and take advantage of the peaks. But you get what I'm saying. That's the beauty of what it allows you to do, kind of be more in the driver's seat. Once you're ready to be more involved and have a deeper understanding of the stock market, that you're increasingly going to have more and more money in.
So if you're looking for a course that teaches you how to make 50 to 100 trades a week or a month, that's not this course, okay? So who is this course for? Really, I've been very impressed by folks that have gotten interested in the FIRE community. FIRE is financial independence, which is the big part that I think is so great. And then retire early is the last part of the acronym. So it's FIRE, financial independence, retire early. And for generally what I've seen in that space is that because you're trying to do all these things as far as like increase your income, decrease your expenses, get into some kind of investment strategy, at the beginning it's very overwhelming. And so what they just tell people to do is just buy the total US stock market index, which is fine in the very, very beginning if you just want to buy one asset, this ETF fund, and then that's kind of your whole strategy, that's fine. Once you have a little bit more things in place, I think you can do better than that because that's a fairly high risk strategy. This will allow you to understand more what's going on as far as how investing works, risk management, things of this nature. This is especially important if you're either older in life and looking to retire in the traditional sense, or if you're approaching your FI date and you really don't want to have any like 20% losses or anything like that. Generally the idea in finance is once you get towards kind of the end of your, say, investing and growth phase, you want to start paring down on your risk so that you're able to maintain what you've gained. Okay, so group number 2, people who are brand new to investing. You just know that you need to be doing something. You really have no idea what the 401k black box is that you signed up through your work, and you want to start learning on your own, investing some of that extra money on your own, but you have no idea what to buy. So that was like me. Before I learned any of this, I was just buying whatever. Honestly, it was like just random Vanguard funds, like some small cap. I had no idea what I was doing, right? And most people don't. So this is a course to help you kind of like get an idea of how it works, get you started, get it going in a educated way where you have at least some plan and some expectation, and you've looked at some companies and the like. Okay, the third group is people that have been investing for a while, and they, you probably know a little bit more what you hold. You know some specific about the assets, the growth opportunities, the sectors, some about the economy, why you're holding this versus, that, and why you've kind of loaded up big on this and kind of pared down on that. But again, really, maybe you've never really gotten to the part of risk management. I mean, that's essentially what portfolio management is. It's essentially another way of just saying factoring in the risk. This is sort of the three groups. You will get a list of videos, which is good, and you'll be able to watch them. There's also going to be a document that goes, it's like a companion Excel sheet. So it's the same stocks, it's the same thing that I'm using in the videos. You'll be able to click into each cell. If you get confused, you can pause it, click into the cells in the document, see where the formulas are coming from, what the references are, kind of look behind the scenes, right? If you click into a cell, in Excel, you'll be able to see in the formula bar what's going on. Oh, we're referencing these and these. Okay, that makes sense. This is hard to show on just a video, so I wanted to make sure that you didn't get confused. When I was a student, the thing that I didn't really like was staying at home, getting a little bit hung up on a little detail and not being able to Google it easily or go to Investopedia or find something that would answer the specific question. So one of the biggest goals I had was to make it super easy and enjoyable for you. So that's why I put this companion document together to go with the videos. Additionally, I give you a template. You can come with your minimum, you want to have like 20 stocks, ETFs, bond funds. We'll talk about the bond fund. And then you can have up to 70. So, and this could just be anything that is a possibility. Bring it in and we can work through it. We'll calculate some of the returns, some of the risks on each asset, and we'll look to see what is the best combination of these assets that you like, that are maybes for you, and we're going to turn it into a portfolio. The really fun part is getting past all the kind of the clicking and dragging and all the stuff in Excel and getting to the point where you get to make the rules. So you could say, for example, well, I know that I want to have at least 15% of my portfolio in tech. Great. So you could tell Excel, listen, Excel, put me at least 15% in tech, but you choose the best combinations of my 10 tech companies, okay? I don't really care. I'm not married to any of them. Or maybe you are. Maybe you're like, I got to have at least 3% in Tesla. I love Tesla, right? I mean, I don't personally, but for example, if you do, right? You can make any rules you want. You can ultimately, what you're going to need to do and really want to do is set the standard deviation, which is the total risk you're willing to accept, like we talked about, and the expected return that you're going to have. Well, it's basically the idea of being able to calculate the risk reward trade-off. And that's what we're doing as an investor. A lot of times people think only about rewards when they're first coming into it, right? And it's not until later that you have some losses and you start to realize that hurts a little bit, right? And so that's why people in the industry, they realize that risk is such an important factor and why it's going to be helpful for you. Thanks for watching till the end. If you'd like, you can use the coupon code FIRE, capital FIRE, at the checkout, and just put that in as a coupon code, and it'll give you some discount.